couldn't buy newspapers. You couldn't buy anything from the outside world. You could buy. I need to put a decent picture instead of me on there, but other than that,
No,
it's
mate, no, you're good. So when you say you didn't go public until recently, why was that?
Well, basically, I think to start with, I was trying to hide it. You know, I still had the wife.
Yeah.
And
How long had you been married?
Well, depends. Married and together. So living together 9 years.
Right.
Married for like 2.
Okay.
Seems to be whenever I actually got married, that's when we split up.
It tends to be the case, doesn't it? Changes the dynamic.
Yeah. I mean, my son was 4, but yeah. So I was trying to hide it, which is what a lot of addicts do. Just completely hide it, and they assume that people don't know, but everybody does. Absolutely, every single person knows that knows you. You know,
it's more obvious than you think, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think I was working in the estate agency at the time, and I'd taken a branch to profit up 300% in a year, and this, that, and the other. So even the company I work for paid a drug dealer's debt off for me just to allow me to carry on working.
Really? Oh, so almost enabling that.
Enabling it. Yeah, absolutely, enabling me to work.
And they completely knew what the problem was.
Oh, completely. Yeah. But as long as I was bringing in £500,000 a year for them, they didn't care. You know, until it went wrong, and then all of a sudden they just wanted to put me on discipline and get rid of me as quick as possible.
Really?
Where what they should have done, in hindsight, I mean, back then my mind wasn't straight, but what they should have done is, right, okay, we've got to pay a dealer off for you, and you've got to pay it back, fine, but now we want you to go to this counselling, we want to see this, we want to do regular drug tests.
Yeah, we want to support you.
We want to do X, Y, and Z, and see what we can do. But anyway, so when everything went wrong, me and the wife split up. It coincided with me not earning the money, because I was earning, good money.
Yeah.
And she's all about the money, completely all about the money.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it was.
Was that visible when the money situation changed?
Oh, mate,
yeah.
We used to have a relationship where she'd hate me for 3 weeks, and then a week coming up to payday, she'd be the best friend and wanting to sleep with me twice a day, because she knew money was coming in at the end of the week.
Oh, mate.
And then the day after, she was a miserable little cow again. But then again, let's be blunt, if I wasn't a drug addict, then our life would have been great, because she was a lovely person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So were you not the easiest person to be around then, as a result of your addiction?
No, my addiction made me a narcissistic, selfish arsehole. Yeah. I just thought about myself. I mean, I would drive my young kids around in a car for an hour at a time, off my head on cocaine, trying to buy more cocaine, with kids that are under the age of 5, 3 of them.
Yeah.
In the back of the car.
So it's all about what you were up to and what you wanted to do.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm getting that.
Yeah.
And when you said you were a bit narcissistic, was that something that had developed with the use of drugs?
Because it's really weird when I got clean, say twice. I probably got clean about 8 times before I finally got clean. Yeah. So I did a rehab, which my parents had paid for 20 weeks of rehab for me.
Yeah.
So I did 12, and by that point, the wife had finished with me before we went in, but she missed me. We started to get back together. She came to see me. I was clean, and everything felt different. So I came out, and I came out early. Needless to say, it was too early. And then we stayed together. We had great fun for about 2-3 months. I was clean for 2-3 months, and all of a sudden something clicked. I started taking it, and then the thing is, once you start again. Yeah. It's like a cognitive behaviour in your mind.
Yeah.
Is it being around the same people as well?
No, I never did it on my own.
Right.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I never did it with other people.
Oh, so it wasn't like a social thing as such. It was more just a habit. And
it was just I suppose what routine. It was is I wasn't comfortable in my own mind.
That seems to be the case with a lot of people I know that struggle with addiction.
Yeah.
It's like when you really look at them, they're not. There's clearly something missing, and no one's completely fulfilled, but there's something obviously missing with them. Like there's some deep kind of unhappiness that they're not dealing with.
Yeah, mine was my childhood. So mine was a hell of a lot of anxiety, isolation, bullying, and other things that went with it. But so when I got clean, my mind started to come back, and then obviously I failed again.
Yeah.
And then what I did is I used the remaining 8 weeks of rehab and went back into rehab. But by this point, she'd moved. She didn't want to be together. When I came out, I moved into a studio flat around the corner from the house. We started spending time together, and she would occasionally tell me that she loved me and she still wanted to be with me. But at the same time, she was dating other people and whatever she was doing. She was playing 2 games. When she was on her own, she wanted me around. She wanted to do dinner. She wanted me to stay. And then when she's out with her mate, she's like, "Yeah, I hate Dave. I don't
Yeah.
like Dave," and shagging whoever she can shag. You know,
Kind of hedging her bets, you might say.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Until something fell into place for her financially with someone else. That's what she was
That
doing.
was the lifestyle.
Yeah. And then when something fell into place for her financially, she was gone.
It changed.
Which is fine. But that's so that's 2018, and then 2019 2019-20 I kind of didn't. I worked at coffee shops and pubs. I didn't want to go back into a state agency because I'd done it for 15 years. Everyone in Kent knows everyone.
Yeah.
And,
It's incestuous, isn't it?
even
Yeah.
now, there's people like, "Oh, Dave Jueno's back in the state agency,"
Yeah.
because I made a name for myself for being good, but I also made a name for myself for doing drugs. So I thought to myself, do you know what? I got involved in. I learned about meditation and kind of managing your ADHD and cognitive behaviours through meditation.
That in rehab?
It wasn't in rehab, but it was, well, yes and no. So they didn't teach us what I learned in rehab, but there was a guy in rehab that taught me the meditation. So another patient
Right.
that was with me, yeah. Because what a lot of people don't realise is not everyone, but most people's natural assumption is an addict is an arsehole.
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, he's a bad person. But no. An addict can be a horrible person, but 9 times out of 10, they're good people that make bad decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they find themselves in a cycle that they can't break.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then it becomes a behaviour that's ingrained in them to become a daily habit, And you find, and it's really weird, when you go into rehab, see all this technology you've got here, you've got none of it. You don't use your phone, you don't use computers, you don't watch the news. You're not allowed to buy newspapers. You're not allowed to know what goes on in the outside world.
Can you walk out of a rehab?
Or is it imposed?
Right, so yes and no, but just give me one sec. I'll just talk about this one thing first, then I'll talk to you about it. So when you're in rehab, you've got all those distractions taken away, right? So you've got 18, 20 men and women aged between 18 to 70 years old, right, all in a room. Then all of a sudden, every drugs start coming out your system, people are reading books, playing chess, playing cards. I mean, this is stuff that you didn't expect any of these people to do. Yeah, most of them are drinking 3 bottles of vodka a day or sniffing 2 grams of coke a day, and they're sitting there playing chess.
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy. You take all that
stimulus,
distraction away, then people become human again. So to answer your question, yeah, you can. So in rehab, you were allowed every 2 days you could go to the shops, local shops, but you had to go out in groups of 3. Because 2, one person could persuade another one to do something wrong. But on the 3, it's more difficult to persuade. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So you had a budget, which is your own money. And you go down a shop. You couldn't buy newspapers. You couldn't buy anything from the outside world. You could buy sweets, crisps, stuff like that.
Yeah.
People used to buy their cigarettes and their vaping stuff and everything else. But basically, you were tested when you got back. So you were drug tested if you went to the shops one day, you were drug tested the next morning in the toilet, to pee in a bottle and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you had that kind of every other day you're allowed out. After you'd been there for 4 weeks and clean, there was a local gym. You'd go down there for an hour in groups of 3. So you go to the gym for a little bit, get some exercise. But even then, they only let you go twice a week because they didn't want you to replace your addiction.
Oh, with another addiction
With
of
another
exercise. Yeah.
But to answer your question, you could leave whenever you want.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
if you tried to leave, they would do everything in their power to keep you. But keep you.
So
They can't physically
Yeah,
keep
they
you.
So
can't
there's
keep
not
you.
like a locked door that needs a swipe key thing. You could literally.
Oh, there's a locked door.
Oh, there is.
There's a locked door, but
Yeah,
You're not
if
there.
you turn around and say to someone, "I'm going,"
Right.
then you go.
They can't forcibly
Okay.
keep you there.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
And when you say that everyone suddenly, without all the stimulus and the phones and all of that, you sort of started seeing everyone doing that. Is that? Because I know you've spoken about meditation.
Yeah.
Is that where you sort of saw that first change in people?
Right. So it's really weird. The first time I went in, I met a guy. He was a Filipino guy.
Yeah.
He was addicted to meth. He turned up with just his clothes that he had. That was it. But he was one of the nicest guys you'd ever met. But he had this, and I never used to believe in any of this before, but I wholly do. He could heal people through meditation, and he could heal people without physically touching you. And I know it because he did it to me. I had a bad shoulder from a motorbike accident in 1998, and it played up all the way up until 2017, and he healed it.
And what was it he did? Was it just
He didn't even touch me.
repeat?
No, what it is, it's to do with what he talks about is that, I mean, obviously it's like religion and spirituality and everything else.
Yeah.
Everyone's perception of religion is their own perception to create for power and greed. That's what all the religion's been created for. Yeah, power and greed. You know that. Yeah, but I don't. I'm not wiping off the idea of it. So basically, what he says is, if you imagine the godlike entity is a big tree, a big trunk of power and energy.
Yeah.
And then you've got big roots, and then you've got smaller roots and dead roots. Yeah. So the bigger roots are like people that can enhance or that type of power and use it. Some people can find where lost people are. Some people can see the future. Some people can heal. And he had that ability to heal. And none of us believed it. But all of a sudden, he sorted out something for me. He sorted out something for someone else. So me being an estate agent and me not having anything, what I started doing was negotiating with people. They could sort his problems out if they got him some shoes or they got him a T-shirt or they got him some...
So you got yourself...
I got him a wardrobe.
Like a little middleman.
Yeah. I got him a wardrobe and he healed people. It was quite funny.
Like a little commissary type shop situation.
Yeah, I wasn't benefiting out of it, but, you know...
You missed a trick there. You should have tried to get an extra pillow or something.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it.
So, but he taught me about meditation. So the first time he taught me, the second rehab I went to, which was the same company but a different unit, they had a log cabin at the end of the garden. We used to do a lot of workshops, and they let me go up there in the evening. It was a little bit more free, this one. Let me go up there in the evening with a couple of people. There was cameras in there, obviously, to do some meditation. Well, out of 20 people that were in there, 15 people every single night come up with me for about an hour and a half. And I run guided meditations with people. And I do that now.
Yeah.
So I do meditations with people that have got certain emotional and traumatic issues, and I help them. But that's what I started to learn in there.
Is my gain all right on my mic?
Yeah, you're getting
You
fine,
guys
mate.
can hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you fine, mate.
Yeah, so basically, that's what meditation
So,
is.
did you say something?
Yeah, but meditation is obviously all of the things that we do. We play with our phone. There's colours and all sorts of stuff going on, and that's our senses. It takes all that away, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it just makes you. Does it involve like affirmations and stuff? Is that part of it as well, or is it literally?
So everyone does it differently. Some people are obviously you've heard of NLP, yeah?
Yeah, and
Visual,
visualisation.
kinesthetic, and whatever. So everyone's very different. With my mind is ADHD, a million miles an hour. I cannot visualise anything.
Really?
Physically,
So focus is...
I can't visualise.
Really?
No. So I have to, and again, even listening to someone else's guided meditation, I can't. I have to do my own.
Yeah.
So I have to literally talk myself. And then one of the first things I do is, other than slowing your breathing, when you slow your breathing down and you slow everything else down, that's when you start to switch off your conscious mind, because you've got conscious and subconscious, yeah? And then what happens is my subconscious thoughts start to come in. I'm like, you forgot to get chips or...
What they drift to the front of your mind, effectively.
Yeah. So, and then what I do is I address them. So if it's someone like, damn, you didn't get any petrol, it's like, well, I'll leave 20 minutes early.
Good luck with that now.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah. Funny enough, I filled the tank up on the way. Think about living on an island. No one comes on it. It's like, they fill up twice a week, and then everyone on the island fills up and they're done.
Amazing.
Actually, I shouldn't have told you that. You'll be curious.
Let's hope this doesn't go viral at all.
Yeah, absolutely. But so basically, I address every thought that comes into my head and it clears it, because with ADHD, what that does is it brings thoughts in, but you never actually deal with them, and they stay, and then they become more, then they become more, then they become more, until you become so exhausted. And what you do is your brain's so exhausted, you use stimulants to keep yourself going. Yeah. So coffee, sugar, chocolate, blah blah blah, and I consume a massive amount of sugar.
Currently,
a massive amount of sugar. I've got people at work that sit there and go, "Are you eating chocolate at 9:30 in the morning?"
It's impressive though, because you're not. A lot of people.
I've got Bridget Jones's on.
Yeah, you're doing well.
No, I have put on a bit of weight now, but yeah.
I mean, genuinely, like a lot of, I'd say, all the fat I gain is sugar. Yeah. So for someone who eats a lot of it, you're laughing.
Yeah, not so much now. But yeah, I should be diabetic, to be fair.
Yeah. Statistically.
Yeah, statistically. But and obviously other stimulants are alcohol and narcotics. Yeah. And what happened is I found, or was persuaded into trying cocaine. And it was the one that clicked. It was like a piece of puzzle that just went straight in there.
Perfected
the puzzle.
Yeah.
What is it about cocaine? Because I've never tried it, but it's like, it seems to get a hold of people. Like there's a guy I know, he's a family friend, and in my imagination he was the most steady individual going, family man, good job, kids, just someone you think he's just on track. And he recently lost, I think he's still married, but he lost his job from cocaine abuse. And you look and you think, what is it about it that it seems to seize people, doesn't it? Like really take a hold of them.
I've got another question for you. How
Yeah.
many people living that perfect lifestyle that you think are living that perfect lifestyle are actually really completely and utterly traumatised inside?
Most people, it's that Instagram theory, isn't
yeah,
it?
people don't go out and go, oh, by the way, I'm depressed and suicidal.
Yeah.
No, of course
They don't. So,
No.
so firstly, I understand the perception, but it's really interesting because cocaine. So crack cocaine is a physical addiction.
Yeah.
Right. Heroin is a physical addiction. I've got a needle phobia, and thank God I have, because I probably would have gone down that route and I wouldn't be here now.
Really?
In fact, I should be dead. I don't know how I'm still here, if I'm honest. But normal cocaine that you crunch up and you snort, that is not a physical addiction. It's a mental addiction.
Right.
So basically, what it does is it's very psychotic, I suppose. It basically enhances one part of your makeup inside your head, mental makeup, and it enhances something that says, I feel all right, it feels good.
This feels good.
Yeah. And then basically it creates an immediate cognitive process. And then whenever that drops, it goes, do you know what? Cocaine solved that last time. I'll try
That's
it
the
again.
remedy.
Bang.
Yeah.
And then that is what it is. It's almost as needing to eat and needing to drink to survive. It's needing that.
Yeah.
That
So a real strong psychological urge to
100%.
take it and continue to take it.
100%.
And did you
Particularly
start
when you're sorry.
with that, or did you start with any other drugs and move on to that?
I got to the age of 22 without smoking.
Yeah.
I'd never been drunk. I've been drunk less than 5 times in my life. I hardly ever drink.
Amazing.
Not your thing.
Next time we get you on here, Dave,
Yes.
we'll all.
Let's not be advocates for getting pissed. But yeah, it's fine. No. Yeah, I mean it's yeah. So basically, I'd done none of it, but because of my childhood, which I know we'll come to,
Yeah.
I had a lot of insecurities. One of them was sex, and I never had a problem chatting a bird up. Never had a problem. Say bird. I do apologise. Never had a problem with the opposite sex.
Ladies.
I love the way you
Ladies.
said. I love
Come
the way
on
you were
now.
like person.
Yeah, I was. This is back in the 90s
No,
in
I know,
South East
you're
London.
right,
Sorry,
mate,
I
you're
never
right.
had a problem.
Female people.
with
Female people.
with people of the opposite sex, not a problem. But I did have a problem when it came to actually having sex because I was very insecure.
Yeah.
And I was dating someone that was stunning, and she said to me, "Look, if you try coke, you'll last longer. If you try coke, it's better. You try coke." And I still stopped. I still didn't do it. 6-7 weeks into a relationship with her, and then one night I just went, "Oh, just give us a line."
What was the turning point?
I don't know.
Just something clicked.
I just knew that she did it when she was with me. She did it,
Yeah.
when she was with me. So I knew she always had it.
Yeah.
I won't say
It's
always had it.
accessible.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
always, and it was just one night that we was just, getting a bit whatever, and I just went, "Oh, go on, let's do it." And then that turned into 2 or 3 lines, and it was, look, I'm not promoting cocaine, but it was a great night,
Yeah.
And then basically what that did in my brain was, right, there's an insecurity, it's been solved by coke.
Yeah.
So any other insecurity that I start to have, that cognitive process,
Yeah.
can you solve this by coke? It's a question in my head.
Yeah.
And then I thought, you know what? Let's see if I can solve that one. Oh, I did.
Yeah. So then it was work.
And
Then it was.
Then it was solve everything by coke.
Would it work for stress? Would it take the edge off?
No, what it did is it took it away for the moment.
And then enhanced it.
So it
And then
worked
when
in
you
the short
woke up
term.
the next day, you start thinking, how am I getting to work? I've got no money. Or, the wife's basically hating me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to sleep in my car again tonight, and all stuff like that. And then you still get up and go do coke the next day.
And did you stop with coke? You didn't go on to anything else?
No.
It was coke, and that
No,
was it. Focus.
as a youngster, I tried smoking a spliff.
Yeah.
Worst thing I ever did. Made me feel sick and dizzy.
Yeah.
Not for me. I tried a pill once. Again, not for me. That's it. I've tried a spliff a couple of times, a pill once.
And large amounts of cocaine.
So
kilos and kilos of cocaine, unfortunately.
Would you say really kilos?
I did $6,000 in a month once.
Really?
£6,000 in a month.
Christ.
what does that look like
What does it
in
equate
relation
to,
to
Like a
a
cup.
golf ball or a cup?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I didn't buy $6,000 in one hit.
No.
So I suppose a gram of coke is probably a bit of paper that's about 1 inch wide by 1/2 inch tall with white powder in it, yeah?
Wrap.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
wrap, yeah. That's a gram. So what? Is it 1,000 grams a kilo?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was generally about 50 quid a gram.
Yeah, that's...
So £50,000 is a kilo. I've easily done over 100 grand on it, easily. So I've easily done a couple of kilos just inside me, and that's not pure. That's
just inside me.
that's, yeah, it wasn't in one night. But that itself, I mean, that wouldn't have been pure coke. That's full of crap as well. They put absolute crap
nonsense
in
Do
there.
they put speed in there?
Creatine,
Someone was telling me.
teething powder.
Teething powder.
And
Yeah.
how many years would you say you did that for, or you consumed?
The age of 22 to the age of 38. So
Impressive.
16.
Yeah.
Impressive
In the sense that you're that you're
still
here
here.
today. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that you did that amount in that amount of time.
To be fair, the first 5 years were once or twice a week
Yeah.
and small amounts. I mean, I can remember. So most people, if they do it occasionally, will do a night out on 1 gram, maybe 2.
Yeah.
I'd do 10 grams a day.
Really?
Yeah. And I'd go 3 or 4 days without eating or sleeping. Yeah. I'd wake up 3 days later smelling of sweat and, you know, whole.
Yeah.
Where would you just be around different mates' houses, and then you go out in the evenings?
On my own.
Yeah.
On my own.
Always.
So, when I lived at home with the wife, it was harder because what you used to do is we used to go to bed, and then I'd have done a light. Sorry.
Sorry, mate.
I'd have done a couple of lines before bed. After the end, she started to get used to knowing what to look for in me, so she'd know if I'd done a line or so. And then I'd pretend to be asleep when she dropped off to sleep, and then I'd be up doing it.
Wow.
Yeah. And then when the relationship started getting difficult, she didn't want me sleeping in the bed, but she wanted me in the house because she wanted bills to be paid. Yeah. So I used to sleep on the sofa downstairs. That was easy for me then, because basically she used to go up at 9:30. I'd be like, bang.
Perfect for the routine, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So then I'd be knocking 2-3 kilos out. 2 kilos, 2-3 wraps a night, and then she'd come down in the morning. I hear her coming down. I'd just lay under the sofa, pretend I'm asleep, you know. And then I was like, oh, I've got to get up. Okay, fine. But then when we split up and I lived on my own, that was when it was bad, because I literally had my own
Complete
door.
Independence.
Yeah, locked door.
Yeah.
And I would just bang, I'll be at it. And it's terrible. It's absolutely because all the time you're doing it, when you're in that bad situation, you're saying, I'm not going to do anymore. I can't do this. I can't do it. You'd be crying yourself to sleep. I would be at the age of 37, crying. What the hell am I doing? And I would still get up and get it again.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about people I see, and you look at, and so many people, and the cost it has on them, their cocaine use, and they still continue to do it. And me as an outside observer, and it is self-righteous of me to even think this, but I'm looking at them thinking, what the fuck are you doing? Continuing to do that.
But then
do you see what I mean?
It's not self-righteous. That's just normal.
That's
It
normal,
is,
yeah.
obviously, like you said, I don't know what they're dealing with, and that they're obviously dealing with something very, very difficult. But as any outside observer, you're going to look at them and think, why is someone in your position doing that with so much to lose, or even when they're not really in a good place, and you think actually maybe your priority should be on trying to get yourself better in your career or trying to fix whatever problem you've got, still continuing to use. And that like you said, it's just so psychologically powerful. It grips people. That's why they'll do it, even in the face of all the problems they have. They'll still continue to use that substance.
Wouldn't you say it's similar to smoking? You think? I mean, I smoke. You smoke as well. Yeah, I'm hoping to quit soon. But that is a perfect reference to it, because it's, we buy tobacco, we buy cigarettes, and it has a thing on it saying this is going to kill you. And we know statistically that. And,
it's like 50% of people smoke.
It's going to increase your likelihood of multiple dreadful, horrible things that we don't want. And we're all, both of us, we're relatively involved in sport, and sort of a lot of people say to me, like a kid, they say they're shocked when they know I smoke, and then they they say, why'd you do it? And that is the ridiculous thing, is the wanting and feeling that relief from just having a cigarette, even though you're knowing that when you're taking that and you're feeling that sensation, you're technically killing yourself.
I think it's something else as well, but personally, just from my own observation, is like, if you live a really clean life, don't eat red meat, drive the speed limit, don't smoke, you are kind of this just sounds a bit weird, but every time I feel like I'm being too sensible, I feel like I'm acknowledging my own mortality. So when I feel like I'm doing dangerous things, I'm like, it makes me feel
alive.
It's almost like you feel a bit more powerful, because it's like, yeah, I can do X, Y, or Z thing that's unsafe or has a health risk, and you're kind of denying something which is unpalatable. That unpalatable thing is, I'm going to die one day. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I mean, I understand what Keir says. I mean, I'm asthmatic, and I'll be smoking a cigarette, and I'll be struggling to breathe. Not badly, but just a bit wheezy.
Yeah.
Still smoking that cigarette and still getting through it, you know?
We might even do it in the rain, mightn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, or below a gas canister. Yeah. But you know, that feeling of, oh God, it's a cigarette, it's fine. Yeah. Well, times that by a million, that's what it's like when you do coke. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, oh, the pressure's gone, you know? To me, that was.
I love the way this is becoming like marketing for cocaine.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like, can we cut this short, guys?
Yeah. No. I mean, the only reason why I'm saying it is that, you know, you've got to understand. I think what a lot of people perception of cocaine is, it's a party drug, and people do it just to get confident. It's not. And this is the point, is that this is why it grabs people, because they, and I think this you know, we're not trying to promote it, not at all. I mean, let's get it straight. I've got a hole in my nose. I've got a heart arrhythmia. I see my kids every other weekend. I've had thousands of pounds worth of debt. I lost a career that was earning me six figures a year. And I've lived on the streets. Right, so let's tell you now, it's not.
No,
it's not. I've stole from family. I've stole from friends. Yeah,
I was only joking about.
No.
I also want to know where my car keys were up there earlier, Dave.
It's all right. It's on eBay. So the point is that you know, it's not. But I suppose it's really weird, because there's different ways that addiction therapy units they try to help people. I mean, you've got the different programs like Steps. You know, you've heard of Steps, Narcotics Anonymous and stuff. That works with some people. Didn't work with me. No. It was just basically, today I'm not going to do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to do that, and it was steps that you had to follow. Well, that doesn't work with someone that is. It's a big mental addiction rather than a physical one. Yeah. Absolutely. So I think that so people sometimes have to understand what entices the human to do the drug.
Yeah, what is the actual underlying cause for it?
To be able to then, because what you want to do, you take that out, you leave a hole. Yeah. If you don't replace that hole with something good, not another addiction, but something good, the likelihood of that person going back is huge. Yeah. Yeah. So to me, what the big thing is, and I believe in Steps for those that need it. For me, it never worked, never will. Never will. I'll never go knock on someone else. It won't work for me. Okay? I personally believe that a lot of people replace their addiction with the drugs with an addiction to go to a group and tell people about how shit their life was every single week, which that's my perception of it. But it works for some people and great for them, you know?
So it's the individual approach almost is what's important.
To me, I think it's a lot of the time when people are addicted to something, they're missing something. Yeah. And I think sometimes it's the idea is to show someone their true worth, to show someone what they can achieve by not doing X, Y, and Z. Yeah. So to give them a purpose to not, rather than just say, you're an idiot, you're a loser, stop it.
Yeah. To give them an actual incentive to not.
Raise someone up, give them something to go for.
Yeah. And who did that for you?
I had to do it for myself.
But
I truly believe now, I got to the stage where I was living in my car and I ran out of money. Yeah. And when I was living in my car and ran out of money, no dealer would give me anything, because they now realised they didn't have a house. They now realised there was no real collateral to come from.
Not a market.
And no one was backing me up anymore. Yeah. So they knew that even if they put the squeeze on me physically, people were still not going to pay it off. So they just stopped giving it to me. And it was at that point that my brain started to come back. because I couldn't replace it with the drug because I couldn't get the drug.
So it was gradually...
You were forced into not having it.
Absolutely.
Because of circumstances.
Absolutely. If I had the money, I'd be dead now.
Yeah.
No shadow of a doubt. If I had the money, I would be dead now. Yeah? So I physically couldn't get it. And it was like, I probably slept for about 8 days, like literally. Up for about 2 hours a day and back to sleep. Literally, our whole body recovering.
Well, this is when you were in your car?
In my car,
yeah. Really?
Yeah, in my car. I would literally drive from one place to another.
Yeah.
I'd, get some fuel, and then when I ran out of fuel, I'd stay in the same country lane, and I'd literally have duvets and shit all over
That's
me.
Shit. Yeah. I've been in that position for a brief period of time myself, for like 2 weeks, and it is fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like literally, I remember I'd wake up. You'd wake up all the time because you're worried some prick's going to come and knock on the window and tell you to fuck off.
Yeah. Or worse, someone was breaking in.
Yeah. And it's just like you can't settle. I'd wake up like 10, 12 times in a night.
Yeah.
Just like anything, any bird goes past any car, you're just up.
Yeah.
And how long were you doing that for then?
I can't remember. I was in a different place. My head was gone.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Were you just in pure existence mode sort of thing, or were you?
Well, the first couple of weeks were pure off my tits mode.
Because you still had some...
Just withdrawing.
I tell you now, this is how bad it is, right? When I couldn't get it, I was literally moving the seats and backwards and forwards in my car, looking for
tiny
dust
crumb
particles. Dust particles, building them up on my hand for about an hour and a half.
Just to get
one line,
just a tiny little,
to get one tiny little line that would last 10 minutes, and then I'd start again, and then I'd start again, and then in the end, I actually ended up falling asleep, and when I woke up, I'd still be so tired. I just need to go to the toilet and have something to eat. That's what I do, and then I remember waking up and just looking around the car, and you couldn't see the floor for crisp wrappers and McDonald's and bottles of drink and stuff, and just looked around and I went, I need to sort myself out. I need to
change,
but by that point, my mind had come back. And I'm just lucky that I got the parents that I got because, I've stolen from them, lied to them and everything else over the years. And they just basically gave me another chance.
They must be proud to see what you went through and what you've become now.
Difficult thing to say that, mate. Yeah, because I'm not proud of me.
No, I know. I appreciate you.
So, I even if someone says to me, I'm proud of what you've done, I sit there think to myself, well, hold on a minute, I had everything.
It's hard to hear that, isn't it? Yeah. When, on the rare occasions when people do say that to me.
I'm proud of you. It's very good setup in here.
But it's like...
Could have had a better table.
I think it's...
I'm joking.
This is what I was talking about. I think we need to delay it another month.
Unfortunately, the cameras can't see how bad the tabletop is.
We're only winding you up.
I know. But it's like... I think especially as British people, like that, when someone says, I'm proud of you, we're a bit like, oh, cheers. Like, it's hard to...
But especially
to acknowledge...
If you don't feel it.
If you don't feel it in yourself. To us, if you were the kind of person who really took that on board quickly, there's probably be something wrong with you, wouldn't there? If you were like, yeah, you should be. It's like, you're pleased with yourself.
Arrogant.
Yeah. Well, do you know, the funny thing is that's where it goes back to my childhood, which we will talk about, because after we do a break, whenever, because I know we're going to begin
whenever you want.
Yeah, we'll talk about the childhood bit, because that is the foundations as to why all this happened the way it did. I was strong enough to know what I was doing, and I was strong enough to know that I shouldn't have done what I did, but the mental weakness was all ingrained from my youth, But what I've done with my children, and this is really interesting, so I've got 3 beautiful kids. Emily and Alice are 12 and 11. Hudson's a bit too young, he's 7. But Emily and Alice, I have pulled them to the side, and I have told them, they've still got the letters that I wrote to them from rehab, because what I didn't realise, when I went into rehab, they were 8 and 9, 9 and 10, maybe. Yeah. And they were told Daddy was not well, he's in hospital. That was all. And you can't see him. Well, what I didn't know is that Alice, poor Alice, where she lost her nan and granddad in hospital. So she thought Dad was going to die.
Oh, shit.
She thought Dad was dead.
Didn't think you were coming back.
She thought Dad was dead.
She just automatically, in her mind, you go to hospital and that's it, sort of thing. Yeah,
because she lost anyone before. So she actually thought I'd gone. And I wrote them both a letter. And typically, Emily's got no freaking idea where it is. Alice has literally got it in a bedside cabinet and reads it literally once a week, you know. But I've sat them both down. I've cried in front of them. I've told them everything.
Yeah.
I mean everything. I've told them even the stuff where I used to drive them around in the back of the car with drugs, even the stuff where I used to do it in front of them.
Yeah.
I've told them everything. And the reason why I've told them everything, and this is one of the issues with, I say issues, parents always want to do their best. But some parents will bring their kids up like the parent's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah? You know, you go to bed early, you read, you do this. No, do you know what? That parent fucked up.
Yeah, they
that
should be
parent
honest about
made
that.
mistakes, and that's how they learn.
Yeah.
And do you know what? You're my child. You're going to screw up as well. Yeah? But when you screw up, I'm here. Yeah? And you probably won't screw up as much as I screwed up. Yeah? If they do, they won't be alive.
Yeah.
You know? And that's a fact. Yeah. If they go worse than I did, they probably won't be here. Yeah. And you know, I've said that to them, and with me, I don't do all this kind of really strict parenting. Yes, they have to respect. Yes, they can't break the law, but they are allowed to push the boundaries a little bit. They are allowed to be themselves, because I want them to firstly be able to experience things so that they're not put in a situation where something's new to them or doesn't feel right. Yeah. But also, I want them to know that if something goes wrong, I'm here.
And that you've been through all of that yourself as well, and actually they're the best person to come to talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a bit of a fine line, isn't it? You obviously don't want to be too buddy with your kids, but at the same time, you need to be approachable. So it's trying to. But it's also,
I think it's also that if you show that you have failed, and I do it with a lot of the training that we do, that we deliver to hospitals, but I will tell them my failures, because it shows them that it's okay to fail.
Makes you more relatable as well.
Yeah, and if you are the person that they're looking up to, and as the father, they look up to you, and if they know that even though we look up to him, even though he's here in our eyes, he's failed, we can come to him when we fail, and he'll give us the right advice.
Absolutely, and it's like it's really weird because my eldest, I mean, she's on Instagram now. I mean, right, 12-year-olds are not supposed to be on Instagram, yeah. She's got bloody thousands of followers, the cow.
Does she?
Right? I struggle to get 2,500.
Yeah, no.
She blows me out of the water, literally. And every picture she puts up, there's like 285 comments, let alone likes. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? And she's a beautiful girl, and I pity any bloke that meets her because she's so strong.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, she's a loving person, but she's strong. She won't take any crap. Yeah, she's a line, you cross it, you're done, you know? But all of her friends, I mean, she does all these little live chats and Instagrams and stuff. I pop in. It's me sitting there with a load of 12-year-olds. All right. And they all look at me and they go, it's your dad. I'm like, yeah, I'm here just to embarrass Emily. And they end up talking to me for half an hour. And Emily hates it because her friends actually like me more than they like her. And what I'm doing is I'm just trying to show that rather than trying to go, get off that phone, what are you doing? Just get involved, show your face. But also, their friends will know that I'm around, and they, you know, I don't hide it, so they all know that, in a way, Emily's got a dad that knows in case they've got problems.
And is involved.
Because they might not be able to tell their parents.
Yeah.
You know, and if anybody needs any help, and I mean, if anyone needs any help, I'll do it. Yeah, that I can do. I mean, it's like, you know, the small things lift anybody up, don't they? So on the way here, I drove past Costa's, and I'm not talking about this in a big way, look at me or anything like that.
No, of course.
I drove past Costa's drive-through, and I had a free drink on my app. When I put it up, I actually had 2 free drinks on my app. Yeah. So I paid for mine, and then the person who was queuing up behind me, I paid for theirs. Don't even know they are. No. They don't even know I paid for it.
But it's a tiny thing.
Yeah, but I drove off, and everyone in Costa's going, well, do you know them? No.
No, just give it to them.
But it's those small
it's a feel-good thing.
Are so important.
Yeah.
Like, literally...
It's undervalued.
You could make a nasty comment to someone that for you is just a joke and it's off the cuff and it's something you're just messing around with your mates. That could stay with them forever.
Cuts like a knife.
It could really, like, you could just hit a nerve. And a small thing, like, is it doesn't mean too much, but it means everything at the same time. So to that person, yeah.
And that's the thing, is that, you know, to me, I think that there's 2 perceptions of everybody. I'm going to go back to that friend you were talking about. There's your perception of that friend, and there's his perception of who he was. And those can be a million miles apart.
Yeah, of course.
What you see and what they think. Yeah? And with me, it was a million miles apart.
So when you had all your stuff going on, for the outside observer, it's like, this guy's successful, top of the world, nice gaff, plenty of money. That was the Instagram image. Not that necessarily you were putting it out on Instagram, but that's what people would perceive.
We were in Dubai on holiday, 2 cars that were no older than 2 years old.
Nice.
You know, 3 double bedrooms, ensuite garage.
So the lifestyle was...
So you were having it off
Yeah.
to any outside observer, effectively.
Absolutely.
But that wasn't what was actually going on.
Inside, I was so insecure and so fearful of being on my own. I didn't love myself at all. I hated myself.
And where did that come from? Hating yourself? Childhood?
My childhood, yeah.
Really?
We're going to take a break now and we're going to go through it.
Yeah. You're like childhood after the break.
yeah. Is that all right?
Yeah, cigarette?
Anytime.
Yeah,
nice.